Watchers is the brand new film from writer-director Ishana Shyamalan, who is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, who is a producer on this film. This is Ishana Shyamalan's directorial debut, and the film is also based on the novel by A.M. Shine. The film follows Mina, who's played by Dakota Fanning, who had a troubled childhood, but she's currently taking a bird to the zoo when she finds herself in the middle of the woods in Ireland. And for some reason, the woods is not letting her escape, and she finds three people who are keeping themselves in this woods in order to survive. The characters are Georgina Cable as Kira. Campbell also just starred in a recent horror film in Barbarian. You also have Owen Foray as Madeline and Oliver Finnegan as Daniel, as they learn that they are posing for Watchers who are trying to keep them for some reason in these woods. The film is an hour and 42 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Sindenberg. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Just hit the 200 subscriber milestone. So let's get us to 300. Subscribe, ring the bell. If you're new to the channel, talk all things movies, TV, and box office. So subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. What are your thoughts on The Watchers? Is this a good directorial debut for Ishana Shyamalan? Do you think she has a future in Hollywood, or do you think this was a disappointing beginning to it? Or have you even seen it? Are you not going to see it? Is this one you want to go to the theater to see, or is this one that you want to wait for at home? Like the video, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel as well. So I was pretty excited for this movie, just because of the Shyamalan name alone. M. Night. I don't want to talk too much about M. Night. This is not his movie whatsoever. This is clearly Ishana's vision and direction. But with the Shyamalan name, you definitely have some expectations here. And I was just excited for another thriller, horror, fantasy type movie. So let's get into my thoughts on The Watchers. And overall, this film is very frustrating to me because the concept of the movie and the blending of a horror thriller with fantasy is very compelling on the page. Um, and I think sometimes the movie doesn't follow through with the setup and the premise of the movie. But by far and away, the film is very well made, and Ishana Shyamalan directs the hell out of the movie. I think the direction is excellent in the film. The cinematography is very strong. The score is very strong. But from a direction perspective, the visuals are captured very well. And I think from a filmmaking perspective, it didn't feel cheap whatsoever. This, Ishana directed the film with a lot of confidence. And only prior to this, she was a second unit director on M. Night's prior two movies, Old and Knock at the Cabin. And she also directed 6 episodes, though, of Servant, which is M. Night's show on Apple TV Plus. And also wrote some of those episodes as well with M. Night. But she directs with tons of confidence. You never feel like when you're watching this movie that this is a first-time feature director, and that's all of the credit to Ishana Shyamalan. I do, based off this movie, have full confidence that she has a very bright future in Hollywood. Obviously, she's probably going to get a ton of, sadly, bad remarks because people are going to think she's just nepotism, why she's finding her way in Hollywood. And you can tell in this film there's so much raw talent from a direction perspective that I really enjoyed. And I do want to see more movies that she directs. If there's a new one coming out, I'll be sure to be there to see it because the talent is on display in the movie. The movie also has very solid performances. Dakota Fanning is always extremely solid in films. Georgina Campbell, who I was wondering when I would see her again post Barbarian. I love that movie. And she's definitely been in things, but Campbell is also very excellent and by far and away in my opinion, the only likable character in the entire movie. Owen Foray is also very entertaining. She was just in Tarot. She's playing actually shockingly a pretty similar character than she was in Tarot. But she also is kind of the person who's kind of the expert, just like she was in Tarot. But here she's the expert of the watch. She was the first one there. And she also has to deliver a lot of exposition. But as I said, the premise, there is a lot of subtlety about what is going on in the first, I would say, 45 minutes of the movie, but that goes away as the more reveals happen in the second act and mostly in the third act of the movie. It becomes just an exposition dump machine. And obviously, this is based off a novel, but Ishana is the lone credit for the writing of the movie. And I just feel like from a writing perspective, she didn't really trust the audience to get every single thing that was going on. There is a lot of mythology that the movie is throwing at you, and because it's not an IP, it's trying to explain everything, but it just comes off as talking down to the audience and actually getting us invested into the movie. And that's because I think the tension just isn't quite there. The movie thinks it's this really thrilling, edge of your seat thriller in the first two acts, and then kind of when you get into the third act, kind of this fantasy element to the movie. But I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't too captivated because for me, the strongest issue from the character perspective is that these are pretty dull characters that we are following. They give a backstory to Mina, who's played by Fanning, but even that, it's kind of like a one-note backstory. And I just didn't care about what was going to happen to any of the characters in the movie. There was no one I was kind of gravitating to. Campbell, I said, was by far probably the most person I was into, caring about in the movie. But I just wish we had more entertaining, captivating, and just real characters. They just felt kind of distant from the audience, just like they were to the watchers, just very dull, in my opinion. But as I said, as the reveals go on, the reveals aren't as mind-blowing as you would think. And the movie, thankfully, isn't going for a mind-blowing reveals in the third act of the film. But it was just talking down to me too much. As an audience member, I appreciate more subtlety, more treating like the audience is smarter than they are. But this movie definitely wants to make sure that every little reveal and mytho that's being talked about is made sense to the audience. So every character has so much exposition that they have to say. There's really a whole 10-minute scene where they're just watching footage and it's all exposition. It was too much exposition. I was getting talked at more than just watching, and that definitely disappointed me. So overall, I think this is a very good start to a career for Ishana Sharma. This is far from a disaster, and she made a very well-made film with really cool visuals, production design, score, and cinematography. But the problem here is the script, the characters. While she was blending two genres, I think there's too much talking at, and that's why I'm going to give The Watchers a 2.5 out of 5, 51% for the new film. What are your thoughts on The Watchers? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys soon.